At our parting, Ms. Reynolds said, "I'll definitely repay you for today's kindness. Just earlier, I happened to witness a client company CEO's daughter falling into the ocean. Without thinking, I dove into the sea and saved her. At Ms. Reynolds' home, she let me take a shower, provided with clothes, and treated me delicious pizza. I'd already given more than enough gratitude, yet she seemed insistent on doing more for me." 5 days later, I was back in the office for the first time in a while. As soon as I entered, my senior approached me with a concerned look, asking, "Keaton, what did you do?" Confused by his question, I headed to my desk, only to find a dismissal notice. A dismissal notice? What's this about? I hadn't done anything that would warrant being fired. My sales numbers were fine, and I had just secured a contract. As I was puzzling over this, my senior hesitantly mentioned, "Aren't you handling Madison Industries? Didn't mess up there, did you?" No, I didn't mess up. I recalled saving Ms. Reynolds' daughter and having various conversations with her, but couldn't think of any missteps. Why would you ask that? It might be nothing, but 2 days ago, Ms. Reynolds visited our boss. It's unusual, so I just wondered, "Hey Keaton, where are you going?" Feeling an intuition that Ms. Reynolds might know something, I decided to head to her house. My name is Keaton Seattle, a 27-year-old salesperson at a precision machinery company. Today, after a 3-month break, I went fishing at the sea, this time alone. Feeling the blue of the sea and sky is my only way to switch off and recharge, even if I don't catch any fish. Just using fishing as an excuse to spend time by the sea was enough for me. The calm waves were soothing. I took some photos of the sea with my phone and sent them to my mom, wondering about her health and what I should do next. Despite coming to the sea to clear my mind, I couldn't find peace today. Then, I saw a group of elementary school kids running around nearby, probably from a local campsite. Their innocent laughter somewhat lifted my spirits, despite usually seeking quiet at the sea. With all this noise, the fish won't come near, I thought, closing my eyes to take a break. After a while, I suddenly opened my eyes. The laughter of the children had abruptly turned into screams. "Catherine, somebody help." Looking over at the children, some were peering into the sea and screaming, while others were running towards the campsite. On closer inspection, there was a child in the water. What? No way, hey. I panicked and ran down to the children, diving into the sea. "Hang on." I reached out desperately to the girl who was panicking and drowning. "It's okay, calm down." Luckily, I was wearing a life jacket, and the girl clung to me desperately, allowing us to float. Other fishermen noticed and helped us get back to shore. "Catherine, are you hurt?" The children rushed over. It seemed the girl who fell into the sea was named Catherine. "Are you okay? Can you breathe?" Yes. She was breathing steadily and was conscious. But she must have been really scared. Catherine was shivering and looked dazed. Then, adults came running from the campsite. "Catherine! Catherine!" A woman, pale as a ghost, ran up and hugged Catherine. "Are you okay? Anywhere hurt?" "Mommy, where?" Catherine cried loudly, relieved to see her mother. I sighed in relief, glad she was safe. I didn't bring a change of clothes. Realizing I was soaked, I tried to head back to my spot, when Catherine's mother stopped me. "Excuse me, wait a moment, please. Thank you so much. You saved my daughter's life. Could I have your name, please? I want to thank you properly." Approaching the mother, I couldn't believe my eyes. Catherine's mother was Ms. Reynolds Madison, the president of our client, Madison Industries. Miss Madison had become president 5 years ago at the age of 30, following her father's death. She became president the same year I joined the company. At 30, her young age and status as a female CEO made a significant impression on me. Ms. Reynolds is gorgeous, isn't she? Beautiful, stylish, and a CEO. She's perfect. Fresh out of college, the sight of the beautiful Ms. Reynolds left me smitten. Then, my senior scoffed. "Hey, don't drool over a client's CEO. There's 0% chance something will happen between you and her, so rest easy." 0% is too much, don't you think? You never know what might happen in life. No, it's 0%. So give it up early and focus on your work. I was a bit sullen at my senior's words, but now I finally understood what he meant. I had assumed Ms. Reynolds was single because she was such a career-driven woman, but she was a mother with a daughter. I was shocked. Ms. Reynolds, right. I'm Keaton Seattle from Blue, your business partner. I apologize for the late introduction. Oh, Mr. Seattle from Blue. Yes, I saw you talking with our representative in the lobby the other day, right? Yes, that's right. I'm glad you remember. I've only seen you in a sharp suit before, so I didn't recognize you. My apologies. Fortunately, she knew of me, even if not by name. I was elated. No need for thanks. I'm just glad your daughter is safe. Please, get her changed and warm as soon as possible. With that, I tried to leave gracefully, but ha-achoo. A sneeze so loud it could stir the waves escaped me. My attempt at a cool exit turned into an embarrassing display of false bravado. Mr. Seattle, you need to change quickly. Do you have a change of clothes? No, but I'm going to head back right away, so it's fine. We live close by. Please, come and take a shower at our house. We have brand new clothes that my father never used. A shower at the client president's house. I shook my head vigorously in refusal. No, that's too much. Achoo. But then, embarrassingly, I sneezed again. Just wait over there for a moment. I'll bring the car around. Catherine, wait here with this gentleman. With that, the CEO ran off towards the campsite before I could refuse. Thank you for saving me, mister. Let's wait over there for my mom. Okay. Unable to refuse now, I was led by Catherine to the designated spot. Sorry to keep you waiting. A few minutes later, the CEO appeared, driving an ordinary car, which was a bit of an anticlimax. Here, use this to dry off. She handed towels to me and Catherine. Then, she quickly got Catherine into the car and changed her. Just wait a moment, please. She also laid a plastic sheet on the back seat. Mr. Seattle, please sit here. Catherine has changed, so she'll sit in the passenger seat. We'll be there shortly. Just hang in there. With that, the CEO put me, completely soaked, in the back seat and drove off. Do you often come to the sea, Mr. Seattle? Our eyes met in the rearview mirror. I was caught off guard but tried to hide it and answered calmly. Yes, I love the sea. But it's been 3 months since my last visit. I've been quite busy lately. Working on weekends too. No, my mother's been hospitalized. We're a single-parent family. Just me and my younger brother. On weekdays, my brother takes care of our mother, so I try to visit her on weekends. But today, she told me to take a break and go out. My mother has always been quick to notice changes in me and my brother. She always knew when I had a stomach ache or tried to hide a bad test score. Laughing, the CEO said, "That's how mothers are. They're always watching their children, making sure they're not in trouble or hurt." That made sense. Her words, as a mother herself, carried a convincing weight. Between work and visiting my sick mother in the hospital, regarding my mother's illness, all I could do was pray to God for her recovery. Facing something completely out of my control, my days were filled with sighs and the constant thought, what should I do? It was then that my perceptive mother spoke to me yesterday, cutting through my worries. What's biting now? Well, now it's, you haven't been fishing recently, have you? Unable to hide anything from my all-knowing mother, I admitted. It's possible to video call now, so you don't have to come all the way here on weekends. Take some time for yourself. But then send me pictures of the sea. I won't be able to go outside for a while, so you go and show me through pictures. Okay, that's why I sent pictures to my mother today, ensuring I could tell her what was biting after my first fishing trip in 3 months. Sorry for talking about myself so much. Feeling the atmosphere in the car turning somber, I quickly snapped out of it. No, thank you for sharing. Here we are at my place. Make sure to warm up in the shower so you don't catch a cold. We arrived at a surprisingly ordinary 6-story apartment building. I had imagined the CEO's home to be a large detached house or a luxury high-rise apartment. Is this it? Yes, we live in room 201, and not even on the top floor. I was slightly disappointed, but also relieved. I was going to suggest Catherine go first, but before I could finish, Catherine interrupted. I've already changed, so I'll go later. Mister, you go ahead. She then pulled my hand towards the bathroom. The clothes will be left out for you, so please don't hesitate to use them. The CEO swiftly switched to an efficient mom mode as soon as we entered her home. Just like my mom. Yes. I decided to take a shower first, as instructed. What's this situation all about? Just because she lives in a normal house doesn't change the fact that I'm in a client's home. I need to leave as soon as possible before I make a mistake. After putting on the clothes the president had prepared for me and thinking about what to do next, I headed to the living room. Sorry, the colors are a bit old-fashioned. The president was busy in the kitchen wearing an apron. No, they're really comfortable. I'll wash them and return them soon. Don't worry about returning them. No one else here will wear them. You can even throw them away if you don't like them. Throw them away. That's out of the question. Catherine, go take your bath. I'll make some pizza. Okay. This must be the CEO's usual routine at home. Directing her child while cooking efficiently. She truly reminded me of my own mother. Mr. Seattle, do you dislike pizza? No, I like it. Good. Although I hadn't said I'd eat, it was clear I was being included in the meal. I was swept up in the CEO's pace, feeling out of place, but she was undeterred. How old are you, Mr. Seattle? 27. You're 8 years younger. She looked at me in surprise. Sorry for being so young. No, I thought you were about my age because you're so composed. When I joined a company, you had just become the CEO. Despite being so young and perfect, I really admire you. I couldn't tell her how excited I was just to see her from afar whenever I visited Madison Industries. Ms. Reynolds laughed shyly. I'm not perfect. I'm an unmarried single mother. Unmarried single mother. She had Catherine without getting married. And she's living here with just her. Questions flooded my mind, but I couldn't voice them. Noticing my reaction, Ms. Reynolds began to share her own story. Ms. Reynolds always dreamed of living abroad. Growing up in a wealthy family where her father was a president, traveling abroad 3 times a year made foreign countries familiar to her. She studied abroad during college, where she had a boyfriend. He was 3 years younger but very smart and incredibly kind. He even promised to marry me. However, her parents wouldn't allow her to marry him. He was a student from Africa, who would have to return to his country after his studies. Ms. Reynolds was willing to live in his country, but her parents would not consent, no matter how much she pleaded. As an only child, it was predetermined that she would take over her father's business in America. But even after her study abroad ended, Ms. Reynolds and her boyfriend didn't break up. Others could take over her father's company. Her father has subordinates who are more capable than her. She thought her parents would eventually accept our relationship, so they continued dating. But my parents' feelings didn't change. So one day, without telling them, I left America to be with him. Were your parents angry? They were furious, saying they'd disown me. But I wanted to be with him, no matter what. Ms. Reynolds had a distant look in her eyes. He and his family warmly welcomed me, but they were just as worried about my parents. In his homeland, love for family was especially deep. He said time is the best medicine. Right now, they're just worried about their daughter. We'll officially marry once my parents give us their blessing. That's why they never officially married. A year after Catherine was born, and they were considering returning to America to show her parents their granddaughter, Reynolds received a call from her mother for the first time in years. My father had fallen ill, with only 6 months left to live. Catherine and I rushed back to America. Her father, whom she hadn't seen in years, was pale and had lost a lot of weight. Her mother told her that her father had been diagnosed with cancer just before Ms. Reynolds had left. Your father understood how you felt, but he wanted you by his side because he loved you deeply. Ms. Reynolds blamed herself for not noticing her father's illness. When my father saw me and Catherine, he smiled and said, "Welcome back." She decided to stay by her father's side, spending every day in the hospital talking about various things to make up for the lost time. I realized how much my father cherished the company. I hadn't been filial at all, so I decided to take over the company. After much discussion with her partner, everyone agreed that Ms. Reynolds returned to America with her daughter. My father lived 6 months longer than expected, and my mother passed away a year after him. But I'm truly glad I returned to America. Your parents must have been reassured to have you by their side. Ms. Reynolds smiled in agreement. I don't regret the path I've chosen. I'm an unmarried single mother, but I'm proud to say this was the best path for me. Miss Reynolds served a freshly made pizza. It smells so good. Catherine, having finished drying her hair with a towel, entered the room right on time. I'm not perfect, but what I can proudly say is that if you act with your family's best interest at heart, you won't have regrets. Let's eat. The hot pizza warmed both my body and soul with its home-cooked taste. Before I knew it, I felt comfortable and ended up sharing a lot about myself. My mother has a progressive illness, and though I wish I could see her more even on weekdays, I've requested a transfer to a department with more flexible hours, but it's been hard to get my wish granted. However, quitting my job isn't an option because I wouldn't be able to afford her treatment. My mom raised my brother and me on her own. It's only recently that she's been able to have some time for herself, and now she's sick. We haven't been able to do much for her yet. As I voiced my feelings, tears unexpectedly started to fall. Are you okay? Catherine looked at me with concern. Sorry. It's silly for an adult to cry. I laughed off my tears, and then Ms. Reynolds said, Keaton, it's not silly at all. Don't carry everything by yourself. We're here for you. Though embarrassed, her words were very comforting. After filling up on food and fetching my belongings to head back to the sea, Ms. Reynolds made a promise as we parted. I will definitely repay you for today's kindness. No, I've already received more than enough thanks with a shower, clothes, and delicious pizza. Thank you so much. I felt deeply grateful for being able to talk and for the sense of fulfillment it brought. The gratitude was all mine. With a warm smile, she left. I felt motivated to face tomorrow with renewed vigor. When I went to pack up my fishing gear, I found it neatly arranged at the edge. Someone fishing nearby must have taken care of it for me. Life's not all bad, huh? Really glad I came here today. I got into my car feeling refreshed. 5 days later, it was my first day back in the office for a while. As soon as I walked in, my senior colleague looked worried and approached me. Keaton, what did you do? What do you mean? Haven't you heard? Everyone's been worried. Confused by his words, I headed to my desk and noticed a piece of paper. A dismissal notice. What's this about? Did you screw up something? No, I hadn't. I hadn't done anything to warrant being fired. My sales numbers were fine, and I had even secured a contract recently. The only thing I'd done was submit a request for a transfer. A transfer request wouldn't get you fired. Must be some misunderstanding. Go talk to the boss. Urged by my senior, I rushed to the boss's office. The boss looked troubled as he saw me, and then explained that the decision to fire me was made solely by the president. I can afford my mom's medical bills if I'm fired. I decided to appeal directly to the president, but the boss informed me he was away on a business trip. Returning dejected, my colleagues gathered around. How did it go? It was the president's sole decision. He's away, so I couldn't talk to him. As I was lost in thought, my senior hesitantly asked, You're in charge of Madison Industries, right? Didn't mess up there, did you? No, I didn't. I had helped Catherine and had various discussions with Ms. Reynolds. But I hadn't messed up. Why would you ask that? Might be nothing but. CEO Reynolds visited our president 2 days ago. It's unusual. Just got me wondering. Hey Keaton, where are you going? Could Ms. Reynolds know something? On a hunch, I went to her home. I rang the doorbell of apartment 201, but it was Friday at 10 a.m. Nobody was expected to be home. But even though I go back to the office, the president will not come back today. Yet, waiting outside her house seemed the only option. Oh, mister, how long has it been? A girl with a school backpack ran towards me. It was Catherine. Did you come to play? I'm alone until mom comes home. Let's play. No, I'm here to see your mom. But Catherine didn't care and pulled me inside. Did mom say anything about me? Huh? Sorry, never mind. You got fired, right? How did you know? Because mom said so. She was really happy that things worked out, Catherine explained. It seems my firing was indeed connected to Ms. Reynolds. I slumped down, defeated. Did I say something to offend her? Despite her kind smile, was it all a lie? Was this her way of getting back at me for something I did unknowingly, despite her saying she'd repay a favor? Catherine looked at me worriedly as I sat there, head in hands. Mom said she'd be home by 6 today. Sir, you can wait here, she offered. It seemed Catherine had already contacted her mother on my behalf. I decided to wait for Ms. Reynolds to return home. "I'm sorry to have kept you waiting." Ms. Reynolds apologized as she arrived home a bit after 6. "Ms. I'm truly sorry. If I did anything to offend you, I sincerely apologize. Please, anything but firing me," I pleaded desperately. "Mr. Seattle, you seem to be misunderstanding something. Didn't your company's president tell you?" she inquired. "He's been on a business trip, and today was my first day back this week. I found this on my desk." I showed her the folded dismissal notice I had taken from my pocket. "You came all the way here for this. I'm so sorry," she said with a soft laugh. But this was no laughing matter to me. "After we parted, I thought a lot, and I concluded that you should leave your current company," she revealed. "Stay with your mother. That would be great, but we need my income for her medical expenses. We're not wealthy like your family," I protested. Driving a standard car and living in a regular apartment, I had felt some kinship with Ms. Reynolds, a single mom working hard. It seemed we couldn't understand each other after all, leaving me feeling both lonely and frustrated. Catherine came over, sensing the tension. "Mom, sir, don't fight. Sir, you're going to work with Mom from next week, right? If you're working together, you should get along," she said. "Work with Ms. Reynolds?" Confused, I looked at her for an explanation. "You said you wanted to see your mother during the weekdays, but your transfer request wasn't getting approved. So, I went to speak directly to your president," she explained gently. Ms. Reynolds had gone to my company's president and said, "Please let Mr. Seattle, who's in charge of our account, join us." My company, in the midst of expansion, was reluctant to let me go due to a shortage of sales staff, which also explained the delay in approving my transfer request. That is understandable. But Ms. Reynolds couldn't accept that. "Mr. Seattle needs to be near someone important right now, more important than company growth. We can respect his way of working, so from next week, he'll join us," she had decided. And so, I was to be fired from my current job. "Starting next week, what will I be doing at your company?" I asked. She smiled. "That's what we'll decide now. And there's another thing." Ms. Reynolds rummaged through her bag and handed out a pamphlet. "This hospital has a renowned doctor." It was a pamphlet for a large hospital capable of advanced medical treatments in the neighboring county. "How about transferring your mother here?" she suggested. She was having consulted with a doctor she knew, who recommended this hospital. "But it's a 3-hour drive, and the hospitalization fees look expensive," I worried. Unsure how I'd afford it. "Our company offers generous support for family illnesses and hospitalizations. A family is crucial for employees' well-being, and it's the company's job to support that," she said, touching my heart with her understanding. She continued, explaining that a branch of her company was near the hospital, and I would work there. Additionally, there was a company apartment nearby I could use. Overwhelmed with gratitude, I accepted. "Though the job isn't in sales, is it okay?" "Of course, no problem. Just spend a little time with your mother every day. Seeing her child is the best medicine," she advised. The CEO's words carried conviction. "Why are you doing so much for me?" I asked, overwhelmed by her kindness. She became serious. "Because you saved Catherine's life at the risk of your own. I will always be grateful for that," she said gratefully. "Parents want to see their children grow up. Your mom raised you on her own. It's time for you to be there for her. That's the best way to repay her," she counseled, moving me to tears. "Ms. Reynolds, thank you. Truly, thank you so much." I showed her my gratitude repeatedly. Then, I returned to my company, cleared out my belongings, and left the place I had worked for 5 years. "Sorry for saying there's 100% no chance between you and CEO Reynolds." As I was leaving, my senior colleague said, "Nah, there's a 100% chance nothing will happen. We'll see about that. Take good care of your mom and keep up the good work." Encouraged by my senior, I took a new step forward. Thanks to Ms. Reynolds' various forms of support, my mother was able to safely transfer to a new hospital a month later. "Mom, you look well today." "Yes, it seems the medication is working. I've been feeling lighter, both physically and mentally." Being able to see each other every day brought genuine joy to my mother, and I, too, began to notice even the smallest changes in her condition. On days she seemed unwell, it became easier to consult with the nurses. Thanks to Ms. Reynolds, I had the best of both worlds. I could work and visit my mother. No amount of thanks could ever be enough for Ms. Reynolds. Keaton, you should marry someone as wonderful as her. There was no one else quite like Ms. Reynolds. I had it in my heart. 6 months later, when my mother's condition stabilized and she was granted permission to go outside. Where would you like to go, Mom? I want to go to the sea. I want to see the sea you love, together. So, I took my mother to the sea. Mom, aren't you cold? Miss Seattle, let's hold hands. Ms. Reynolds and Catherine also joined us. Seeing the sea and sky together with everyone is the best. A lively family is the best. Ms. Reynolds, please continue to look after Keaton. Mom, what are you saying? I'll be counting on you as well. I wasn't sure if Catherine fully grasped the situation, but her perfect response made me scramble. And when I looked at Ms. Reynolds, she seemed to blush, perhaps just my imagination. I, too, have always dreamed of a lively family. Let's go out together again, all of us. Mom, she said. Hearing Ms. Reynolds' words, my mother looked incredibly happy. What the future holds for Ms. Reynolds and me, I can't say for sure. But for teaching me the importance of being with family, I'll always hold deep respect for her, and if she needs me, I want to be by her side.